As a career federal civil servant, Foreign Service officer, I came under the Hatch Act, as does every other career U.S. government employee. We are enjoined from ever becoming involved in politics. So while the State Department and the National Security Council, the CIA, the Defense Department has political appointees who serve in senior positions and who are there at the direct appointment of the president and do act politically, the great majority of us are not in that capacity. We work for whomever the American people have elected and put in charge, and we are to implement their decisions and carry them out. Now, at the NSC, since I was interacting with the political appointee, political staff of the White House on the issues of POW/MIA, on the issues of refugees, these were becoming domestic political issues, and so I dealt with persons who worked for Jack Marsh. Jack Marsh was the political counselor, very close political confidant of President Ford, and he had a staff of people who dealt with the political issues, including one man named Ted Mars. And Ted and I became close. He was quite a bit older than me. He's a political operative. I'm the career guy who knows the refugee issue, who knows the POW/MIA issue, who knows other issues related to the war. So I'm working on things for him all the time. I'm reviewing his memos to the president. And of course, in 1976, President Ford is going to run for office. He has a challenge from Ronald Reagan, which he beats back and going to secure the nomination. But there's a question of whom he should have as his vice presidential candidate. So interesting thing to watch, right? Interesting events to be at the White House to watch, just like watching Watergate had a front row seat to that. But I really liked President Ford, and I had an idea. And my idea was that to ensure his best possible chance for being reelected, he should do something that had never, ever been done before. He should pick a woman as his running mate. And I thought the woman who could best fill that role and be acceptable and be a real plus was Anne Armstrong, who was then the United States ambassador in Great Britain, in London. She had all the experience of being in an extremely serious job. She was someone who presented herself and came off as an extremely serious, experienced, accomplished person of great judgment. So I typed up a memo, not from me, but about why President Ford should take Anne Armstrong. It's a page or two. And I put a note with it to Ted Mars and said, Ted, I know this isn't usually my role, but I hope this might be of interest. And Ted said, well, I'll put it in the mix. Now, that could mean I'll throw it away in the wastebasket as soon as you leave, or maybe he would really put it in. I didn't know. Thought, I've done this. I felt good. Gave the idea to him. President Ford picked Bob Dole, wonderful man, World Food Prize laureate in 2008 with George McGovern, to be his running mate. Pretty good choice from Kansas, Middle America, but he didn't win, lost the election. to Jimmy Carter. And so I didn't think anything more about it until, 5, 6 years later, I read a column by George Will, Washington Post columnist, who was revealing that inside the White House, there had been an extremely serious debate, and that Anne Armstrong came like this close to being the choice to be the vice president. Now, whether that debate had anything to do with my memo or not, or that idea, but it wasn't one that you heard or saw in the press anywhere. And whatever, I thought, oh, that's great that my instinct had been one that had at least been so right on that the idea was close, very close to being embraced by the president. I think if he had done that, maybe it might have affected the outcome. President Ford lost the election. I had my little moment of being involved in politics surreptitiously, but after the election, it was a very sad time to be there at the White House when a president has lost. Everyone who knew Jerry Ford liked him a lot. He had been, in a way, the savior of our democracy. And it's good that Thanksgiving and Christmas come so close after our elections, because Thanksgiving at the White House, and particularly Christmas at the White House, as a way of filling you, even if you've lost the biggest election of your life and you have to leave, and that still give your last moments, the president's last time there, would be ones that where his spirits, Mrs. Ford's spirit, would be elevated. We all got to have a chance to have a farewell with the president. I came up, shook hands. He said word of thanks. It's a long line to me. I'm not sure how much he remembered me or been involved, but it had been this incredible moment. But I thought, as I was waiting in line to walk up and shake his hand, and have the picture taken, that he had been the keynote speaker at the Loras College mock political convention in 1964. I'd seen him there, heard him speak. He was a junior congressman from Michigan. And now here he was at the White House, having been president, having presided over the end of our great national nightmare of Watergate, and had restored the tranquility to America that I felt on that 4th of July. And thanks to his decisions and his actions, 130,000 Vietnamese and other refugees from Indochina were living in freedom. Not bad for a congressman from Grand Rapids. I felt very privileged to have been part of it.